Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the AEW Modcast review show. We've been gone for a couple of weeks just due to life circumstances. I was on holiday. Dory was at the show because, I don't know which one I would prefer personally. I did enjoy my pina coladas, but also you got to see Kenny Omega die.
Yeah, it was a real bummer of an episode, but also one of my favorite Dynamite episodes, so I'm not sure what that says about me.
Honestly, it was a really good show.
It was really
it was
good.
one of those I would have liked to have reviewed, but at the end of the day, I would still prefer my mojitos by the side of the pool. But as it stands, doesn't matter because this show was also a real barn burner. I thought I loved this show. I don't know what you think, Dory. By the way, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
I should probably do a better job of introducing you.
That's fine. We did do one, but we'll talk about it some other time. But yeah, I'm Dory. That's Adam. And we're here to talk about the Dynamite episode that just happened a couple days ago. And yeah, a great show. Looking forward, especially to talking about that Philly street fight, which we'll talk about later. But had a couple pay-per-view quality matches that I really enjoyed. Some story movement, which we'll discuss. Interesting developments across the board as we head towards All Out.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a note on that street fight. I considered breaking the mold of this show where we just start things from the top of the show just to talk about the street fight straight away because it was that good. I loved every second of it. But no, we'll stick to tradition. We'll start at the start. And what was at the start? Oh yes, of course. Right at the start of the show, Bryan Danielson came out because he is on commentary for the foreseeable.
Yes. So Toni Schiavone, it seems as if Toni Schiavone is not on Dynamite anymore, and he'll mainly be doing Collision, which is probably a good move.
Praise fucking be. I'm sorry. Yeah. I quite like Toni Schiavone as like a person, but he, if we can minimize his time on the mic, that would be for the best.
Yeah.
And also, excellent replacement because Bryan Danielson he adds a sort of layer of authenticity to the proceedings that I think has been lacking somewhat, in the sense of he sort of adds. Yeah, Excalibur is great at explaining. He knows every single move under the sun. He's a good sort of play-by-play. But Bryan Danielson adds that explanation and depth of understanding of wrestling that I really appreciate. So I'm locked in for this. I love the fact that Bryan is on commentary. Also, it means we get to see Bryan Danielson every week.
Absolutely. It's also really cool because it's all former wrestlers, right? I mean, Taz, Excalibur technically, and of course Bryan. So it's really cool on that level too, because all of them have at least some level of awareness of ring psychology and just what it does to your body and stuff like that. So I think that's a really cool dynamic too. Not that you always have to have that, but I think having that in any amount of number is always helpful. But having an all wrestler, like previously a wrestler commentary table, I don't think I've ever seen that in wrestling. Certainly not on a big national scale like this. I've never seen it happen on WWE, unless I guess there might have been one or two. I'm thinking about I guess Taz with King, if they ever paired, but
I don't know. The thing is with that, sorry, we've gone way off tangent, but it doesn't matter. The thing is with that, you always had for like a good 30-year stretch, you always had either JR or Michael Cole on the commentary desk. So that necessarily made it so that there wasn't an all wrestler commentary desk. So you know.
Well, either way, this was really cool to see. Danielson was amazing. I just want to put him over now. Obviously, he needs it, right? But he was amazing. It felt like he had always been there, and like he'd always been doing commentary, and he was just so natural at it. He called everything so well. I think my favorite call of his is later in the night, but I want to mention it right now in case I forget. But sick that drop toe hold up his shove that drop toe hold up his ass show. Bryan said about Yuta. So good stuff. Just a natural fit and a really cool dynamic on the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Danielson on commentary. Every time he's done sort of guest commentary spots in the past, he's knocked it out of the park. This is a really, really great development for AEW commentary, and a commentary team that's needed a development, I gotta say. So, we're very happy about that. But this show started off quite rarely in recent times with going straight into a match. I think we've relatively had a formula of starting usually with a Hangman promo. This time we started with a Hangman match, which great, love that. Especially when it's a match as good as this, because this was a rematch of sorts. Because I believe I'm right in saying it was Josh Alexander's debut match in AEW against Hangman. The memory serves me correctly, you were there for.
Yes.
Lucky bitch, whatever. Of all the shows that you've been to in AEW, that is the one I'm most jealous of, and it was just a Dynamite.
Yeah, I was really happy to be there. I mean, except the part where Kenny died and Hangman died and everyone died.
No, wait, what? No. I'm on about the one where
Oh, the collision. I'm sorry.
No, I said I'm most jealous of you being at that spring breakthrough, the one where Hangman.
Oh, spring breakthrough. Yes. I was also there, and yeah, that was that. Nobody died on that one. As far my heart kind of died because Athena lost to Mercedes, but otherwise, no dying occurred. Also, this prick next to me was a jerk about Mercedes, but yeah, and I was side eyeing him the whole time.
Boo. Anyway, but yeah, this match was a very, very worthy rematch. I thought it was probably better than the first match they had.
Yes, I also thought that, and I was literally there.
Yeah, because they beat the shit out of each other this one.
Yes.
In a way that, because I suppose there was more of a storyline behind it. The first one was sort of it was the Owen, right?
It was the Owen. I think it was Josh's first match? ?
Yeah, it was definitely.
Yeah,
because I saw that there were some people that were like, "Oh, when he lost his first match, he's been buried." And it's like, fuck off. He should be losing to Hangman. And speaking of which, he lost to Hangman again here, but he looked really, really good. I think this is probably the best showing from Josh since he debuted.
It was also. I also really liked Brian brought up on commentary that he had a similar journey of going into AEW. Think he's gonna, tear everyone a new one and all that stuff, and then he meets up with Hangman, and Hangman stops him in his place. So I liked that parallel that he put between himself and Josh. He's like, look, if I can't get the job done, there's no shame in Josh not being able to get the job done, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And like that, it's exactly how you should be presenting a world champion. And more to the point, it's what they didn't do the first time around with Hangman. I think, broadly speaking, obviously with Danielson they did it, but he should be having sort of match after match, being a fighting champion and winning all of the time because he's the top guy in the promotion. He should be winning these sorts of things, and he did, and he looked great because of it. I don't know whether there are any specific spots that you want to talk about.
I really liked the Deadeye on the ring apron. I know he's done it a million times, but it always looks so good. And also the I don't know what you would call it, the move that he did on Josh on the outside near the ramp, where he like put Josh almost neck first into that barricade. That looked gnarly.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I want to put over that you had like Josh Alexander hitting German suplex after German suplex, so much so that they rolled out to the outside with him still having sort of a waist control, and he goes to suplex him on the ramp, and that's when Hangman does the flip over. I thought that looked really, really good.
And honestly, I would have said that Josh has the best, and actually this gets talked about by Brian, but I would have said, if another match hadn't happened, that Josh probably has the best, if not one of the best, German suplexes in the company. But because the other guy, who we're going to talk about later, hasn't wrestled in so long, I forgot how fucking good his German suplexes are. So we'll get to it. But yeah, there is somebody who's better. But I mean, Josh still has an incredible German suplex. It looks really good.
Yeah, I mean, there's an argument to be made that Josh Alexander is sort of the inheritor of sort of Kurt Angle's shtick. I'm not saying that Josh Alexander is as good as Kurt Angle before people come for me. I think he's very good, but he's not quite that. But in terms of his presentation, his moveset and stuff like that, it is quite angle-esque.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he even
so-
had a match with oh God, forgive me for what I'm about to say, Adam. But he even had a match with Charlie Haas on TNA before he left, which I thought was pretty good. So
Did he? I didn't see that. I got to be honest.
yeah, it was like a one-off. It wasn't, but it kind of goes back to what you're saying about him kind of inheriting that angle-esque style in the ring. I think he's probably. I don't think really Shelton was always his own guy anyway. But if there's anybody who's kind of inherited that, it's definitely Josh.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought he looked really good here. But ultimately, of course, Hangman got the win. With a relatively clean, even though Josh is part of the Don Callis family, there wasn't a massive amount of interference and stuff. I mean, Lance Archer and sort
Rocky.
of Rocky came out fucking Rocky.
But it didn't do anything. He punched him off, mugged him off, as you might say, and he just hit that buckshot, and that was it. So it's like I like that because I think a general, kind of babyface in the roster, men's or women's, would probably get distracted by that, maybe lose or maybe take a close fall, but not the men's world champion who just shrugs them off and then still hits the buckshot for the win. So I like that. It puts Hangman a little bit above everybody else, which you should be.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. He should be on the sort of level where this sort of thing, even if it happens to him, he should be able to shrug it off, which is exactly what happened incidentally in like the MJF match at Forbidden Door. You had all these shenanigans, but ultimately it didn't matter. Right. He's still the best wrestler, kayfabe, and arguably at the moment in real terms, he's the best wrestler in the world. So he should be, he should be doing it.
Yeah.
But anyway, good match, very good match. Hangman gets on the mic afterwards, says that he didn't spill a gallon of blood to win this title just so MJF could change stipulations. He didn't win. He didn't win the title, so Don Callis, the dumbass, could come and take it off him. I did appreciate the line. The most important word in all elite wrestling is wrestling, and that's what he's here to do. I love that. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, that's
good shit.
Especially given other companies' sort of proclivities, it's a really great line to delineate sort of the difference. Where it's like, no, because the most important word in WWE, I guess, would be entertainment. Yeah, so it's absolutely a good sort of delineation to be like, no, this is a wrestling company. And also, speaking of delineations, he also said once again that he is the AEW Men's World Champion, which we should be normalizing because, yes, absolutely. I argue that actually you could go even further. With Hangman calling it the Men's World Championship, I think Toni Storm should then cut a promo saying that she is the AEW World Champion.
That'd be amazing.
I'd love that. I really would.
That'd be phenomenal.
But yeah, after that, my boy, my proto star, Carl Fletcher, comes out looking amazing. May I just say, not in a, well, maybe in a horny way, but also, but also just he looks like a guy who should be challenging for the world championship in the main event. Put it that way.
Yes.
But they had.
I think anybody else who might have looked like that has possibly gotten injured. So.
Yeah. Spoilers. There was a report that came out that I think this has since been debunked, but there was a report.
It has. Yeah. I just wanted to spread a little misinformation as a treat. But yes, it has been debunked. But
there was a report that has since been debunked that Carl Fletcher challenging here was an audible after Wardlow got injured, and it was supposed to be Wardlow. And everyone online do a bit of a hissy fit because it's like, you brought Wardlow back to have him challenged straight away, and it's like, no, calm the fuck down. It was always supposed to be Kyle. They wanted to do Wardlow later, but obviously that's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
This was a really good back and forth promo. I thought Kyle absolutely held his own. It added. I obviously thought the match was always going to be amazing, but there was a bit of in the back of my brain that was like, really, we're doing like TNT challenge, TNT title guy challenges the world title again. Sort of exactly a year on from the last time we did it. I thought, I didn't love it then, and I don't love it now. But I think they did a really, really good job of selling this.
Yeah.
Building the story up.
I think it has good emotional weight with what Kyle did to Kenny, and also there's just the logistical issue. I'm not saying there's nobody else that could have challenged Hangman. I don't think that's true. You could have probably heat somebody up. I don't know who off the top of my head, but I think
Takeshita.
Kyle is pretty much ready for the main event, and I think this will show that he's ready for that. I mean, I think through the Osprey feud, he's already shown that, and his other matches as well. But I'm still very excited for this match. I do agree with you. I'm not a huge fan of the TNT title challenging for the TNT champion challenging for the world champion. It just makes the TNT champion kind of, I don't know, like there's not really a mid-card title in AEW in terms of like they don't like see it that way, but like it makes it feel like that a little bit more if you're trying to like it kind of raises those differences in my brain. So I'm not a big fan of that, but the match will be amazing at the end of the day. That's really what matters. And if they build a good story around it, honestly, I have very few complaints besides that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like my concern was that it was going to be another sort of Jack Perry challenging Bryan Danielson situation where it's like, A, you don't feel like the guy has a hope in hell of winning, and B,
Right.
it sort of it diminishes the TNT champion and stuff like that. But this has already established a much firmer ground and a much better story than that ever did. And first of all, I think the match will be a lot better than that one was. Not to say that one was bad, but this has the potential to be the match of the year based on the two people that are in it. And for a company called All Elite Wrestling, in which the most important word is wrestling, you want the best wrestling matches on your pay-per-views. And Hangman versus Fletcher is arguably one of the, given the roster that you have and the people who are injured and whatever, Hangman versus Kyle is like one of the best matches you can possibly put on, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the roster right now. The only one who's stood out to me so far is Ricochet and Takeshita.
I
You
was
could
going to
do an
say
Ibushi. Yeah,
Takeshita, absolutely. If in an ideal, perfect, absolutely perfect world, with Kyle being the TNT champion, I would have put Takeshita in this spot. But
yeah.
but given this promo, I'm absolutely not mad that it's Kyle.
I think you could have done stuff with Takeshita too, since he has that, kind of feud and history with Kenny. But I agree with you. We definitely could have put Takeshita in this spot and pretty much had a lot of the same people available. But Takeshita's feuding with Okada, and I would also say Ricochet, but Ricochet's busy with the Hurt Syndicate, so that can't really happen. So.
Yeah, a lot of people are tied up at the moment. Also, I get the argument that you don't want to pin Takeshita for the world championship when he's probably just about to win another world championship.
Yeah,
If you know what I mean.
yeah.
He's almost certainly going to beat Zack Sabre Jr. for the IWGP title next month. So, I understand that there's politics at play with him having a dual contract and whatever. So.
Yeah.
But
I
anyway,
think it would be. I know it would never happen. This is the last thing I'll say about this because we should move on. But I would love to see, and I know it's not going to happen. Adam, get ready to laugh. I would love to see Roosh versus Hangman in a main event match. I know it's never going to happen for many reasons.
Oh,
but it would be so good, dude. And they could even have a hardcore match, and like Roosh doesn't even have to like get pinned. Like fucking come on. I don't know. Or he doesn't have to get like straightforwardly pinned with a buckshot. Like he could take a fucking nail of hammer, a fucking hammer with nails on it. So,
see, I feel like Roosh is just a victim of his own sort of anger issues, I guess.
yeah.
The thing is, I would absolutely love that, and Roosh is a good enough wrestler to carry that off. It's just, I don't know if you can trust him to be in the main event. I'm just saying. It's like, it's unfortunate, but that's the personality that you're dealing with. but yeah, that's sort of the final word we'll say. Great promo. Check it out if you haven't. We haven't really gone into the substance of the promo, but we do need to move on. We got sidetracked by the sort of storyline implications of everything. But just to say, great
How
promo.
could we?
Kyle more than held his own against Hangman,
Yes,
who's a brilliant promo.
absolutely. Also, Kyle, my man, sucks.
Yeah, for God's sake, I like not.
I thought
Not
they were
just
low cut, but I don't think he was wearing anything. I think he just had loafers on.
yeah, honestly, like it's like pure sort of Gen Z douchebaggery sort of.
It's not
The
even Mike Bailey. It's somewhere in between. It's a weird in between that makes me feel oogly boogly. So
it's the sort of thing. Do you remember that guy Ty Lopez? Where it's like knowledge. It's the sort of thing that he would fucking wear. That sort of douchebag, self-help guru type thing. And it's like, for fuck's sake, just
Adam,
put some socks on.
I have good news for you, Adam. MJF has gotten married not once, but twice. He's not only married to Tits McGee, but he's also married to the Game. So congratulations on marrying part of. Oh no, different game. Sorry.
Congratulations! I mean, we love to see two people who will never be in the same company and yet they still find love.
That's right.
But yeah, I thought this MJF promo was really good because, of course, it was MJF, especially in like backstage. What's the word I'm looking for? Pre-tapes or whatever. I think MJF really shines in that role.
Yes, he was really good here too. I loved it. I mean, he was like basically it was so funny. So he already tweeted that Vengeance doesn't have a honeymoon or some shit. And then he also said that he told Alicia that that he's married to the Game, of course, wrestling, and has to go get revenge on Mark, and he's just like, it's just so good. It's such a good intersection of what happened with him and Alicia, which again, congratulations. I'm genuinely very happy for Max. That's awesome. And just like what's going on with Mark Briscoe, dude has, if anyone's still subscribed to Fightful, they revealed his schedule, and holy shit, that dude's taken on a lot. So my man is busy.
Yeah, absolutely. Just fair play to Max, honestly, because that's why I could never do that sort of schedule. I could never do half of that schedule. And not only is he doing that sort of schedule, but he's doing really good work within it, which it's very easy. If you're doing a lot. Sorry, I swallowed some water accidentally. It's very easy when you're doing a lot of stuff to do it half-assed. But I love this feud with MJF, with Mark Briscoe. I've loved the sort of interwoven feuds with people like Mystico. Is that today? That Anniversario?
I don't know. I'm the wrong person to ask. I'm sorry.
I am going to look this up. I feel like it might be today. The 12th.
It would make sense because they were hyping it last week.
No, sorry, it's next week. I knew it was a Friday, but no, it's next week. But I really loved Max's work. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah.
I really liked. So we went to adverts or commercials, as you Americans call them, after this. And when we came back, Renee Paquette was talking to the Young Bucks in catering, in sort of like the jobber version of catering. I love this segment. I really did. I'll let you talk because I've talked a lot.
Yeah, I'm glad you are, because this is a lot of elite lore, and I fucking love elite lore. First off, the Bucks try to get. Also, I almost got a photo with the Bucks. I would have bragged to no end if that had happened, but unfortunately, they were only in that fucking line for a half an hour, and mostly for a bit, so they could talk it up on the show. So I was literally in line, so nervous, and then Kim looked at me and was like, "Why are a lot of people getting out of line?" I'm like, "I don't know. Like, let's go over to them." And then she's like, "Oh, they're gone." I'm like, "Fuck." So I was so upset. We got there at for Dynamite last week. I think we got there at 6:45, but we had to walk, so we didn't get to the venue until 7. And then we waited in line, and like I think 5-10 minutes later they left. So it was a real bummer. But anyway, still my EVPs in my heart. They go over to a table. It looked like they were at Max's wedding, but I guess it was just catering. But anyway, they went to go sit down at a table, and the Dark Order then appeared for the first time, and I don't even know how long. I also heard that Alan Angels was sitting there, but I didn't spot him. But somebody said that Alan Angels was at that table too, but I didn't see him. But either way, then they came into Brandon Cutler. I was like, holy shit, it's Brandon. And I was so excited. And then Brandon told him to shut up. I was like, let's go. That's been building for I don't even know how many years. And they kind of just threw it away in a backstage segment, but still catharsis. And then Mox came to talk to them, and he's like, look, I don't give a shit about the money. I don't really care, but I know you guys do, and you need the money. Bring the old bucks of yore, the new bucks of yore. I don't know. But anyway, the young bucks of yore, and the before times, and bring your A game, and let's beat the shit out of them. I'll give you 250 each, 250K each. So yeah, the Bucks were excited, and we'll get to that match later, but it was really great. That probably my match of the night. It was really good.
Oh, interesting. It wasn't my match of the night, but I loved it. Don't get me wrong. We'll talk about it later. But yeah, I love this sort of segment.
I'm sure yours was the Philly street fight. It's very close between that and the street fight.
I just love the street fight so much. I can't wait to talk about it. But we do need to talk about how many more matches before that? 2 more matches before we get to the street fight. One of which came up now, in the sort of chronology, which was the women's tag match between Mercedes Moné. How many belts does she have now? 9?
No, she has. Well, so the easy way to remember this, Adam, she has as many belts as Briscoe has children. So 9, yes.
That's very true. I do love that we're still counting the Owen, even though it's absolutely not a belt. But yeah, 9 belts, Moné, and Emi Sakura. Great to see Emi back. We love Emi.
Yes.
Use Emi more. Versus Riho, another one. Sort of use her more. And Alex. How long should we do this for? Alex Windsor. I love her so much. I've loved her.
She's great.
Years.
Have you seen her Hey EW episode?
Yes,
with
I have.
So good.
She might be the only person in AEW history to out-freak RJ.
Absolutely. She matched his freak and then raised him 20. It was crazy.
That whole segment about what, which pay-per-view and which sexual act.
Oh my god. She's amazing. I love her.
She is. I mean, I've loved her for years, sort of on the British scene, but I'm so glad that she gets to get this spotlight. She deserves it so much. And it's very, very clear that AEW feel the same way about her that I do, which is she is a star and she needs to be treated as such.
Now, I love all of the women in this match, but I think you'll agree with me, Adam. This match felt a little rough. Now, I think that's understandable. Emi hasn't wrestled in AEW in a year, and Riho is just getting back from injury and hasn't wrestled also in a year, ? I don't know the dates on that. But it's been a while for both of them. Obviously, Alex and Mercedes both looked great, and it's not like Emi and Riho looked bad, but definitely it just felt like there wasn't as much cohesion as maybe you'd expect between these 4. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I agree. I agree completely. This was, unfortunately, comfortably the weakest match on the card tonight, which is partly due to every other match on the card being great, but also partly because, there was a lot of very noticeable ring rust that had to be shaken off during this match. Because, like you said, Riho hasn't wrestled in a year. Emi Sakura, she wrestles fairly frequently in Choco Pro in Japan. But like you say, she hasn't wrestled sort of, I don't know what you call it, the American style.
TV style.
Yeah. Yeah, she hasn't done that in a good year. It's very sporadic for her. And there was some sort of, it's understandable. Some people don't gel well in the ring despite being really good wrestlers. There's
Yeah.
obviously, like I say, ring rust to be shaken off.
Yeah, and it's
I
not
think,
like either of us are saying this was a bad. I thought it was actually a like a good or pretty good match. But at the same time, it's like the women involved in this match are all like incredible. So you expect like at the very
yeah,
least, a 4-star TV classic or something. But you didn't
yeah.
quite get there.
If this was, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna slag off some people here. If this was, like, I don't know, Saraya and I don't fucking know, Dana Brooke having this caliber of match, we'd be like, oh, this was really good. But the fact that it is, Alex Windsor, Riho, Emi Sakura, Mercedes having this caliber of match, it's like, oh, well, it was okay, but you expected better. I think that's fair to say.
Yes, I think that's fair. But the match itself, again, not a bad match by any means. Uh, uh Windsor, Alex looked really good in terms of her striking. Mercedes looked great in
Hmm.
terms of her selling and her meteors
I'd
as
argue,
always.
I'd argue that in a match with Riho, Emi Sakura, and Mercedes Moné, that I think Alex Windsor was actually probably the MVP of this match. I thought she looked really excellent.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. Her strikes look really good. She's
Mm.
got really good ring presence. Like, she just looked really good in general in this match in terms of her performance and everything she gave and the tag the kind of like synchronization moves, or I don't know what you would call them, the tag moves, that she did with Riho also looked really good.
Yeah, I agree. There's not a great deal to say about this match.
Yeah. I'd still
Sort
like the
of,
Riho stomp. I still thought that looked really good. And
yeah,
the basement drop kick I liked as well. But there's, like you said, there's not a ton to say here about, anything really that happened here. I did like the finish. We could talk about the finish for a second, I guess.
yeah. I thought it was really good that Riho and Alex slapped on their respective submissions. I I don't, the right person won in that Riho tapped Emi Sakura out, which I suppose if you're more dialed into sort of Choco Pro Japanese wrestling lore, that's probably a bigger deal than it felt. But like, right person won because you want to keep Riho, simmering or boiling going into her match with Mercedes in Toronto. I don't necessarily think that anyone thinks Riho has a chance against
Yeah, she
Mercedes.
really doesn't.
But you still have to present her as such. So that it was the right winner by all means. But I I don't know. I'm gonna piss some people off here. I know I am because I know that there was a big contingent. I said this in private to you before. Um, I think a lot of AEW fans like the idea of Riho more than they like the actual Riho. In the sense of, she comes back every year and she has her match, or she has her couple of matches, and she does pretty good in them. But there is a subsection of AEW fans that treat her like the second coming every time she comes back, and I get quite excited when Riho comes back because I think she's pretty good. But like, when was the last really really good Riho match in AEW?
Sorry, I had to cough. I know, absolutely terrible timing for that. Yeah, uh I don't know. It was probably a pay-per-view match, but I couldn't
see,
tell you off
see,
the
for
top of my
me,
head.
the last match that I could hone in on and say, from memory, the last match I could really hone in on and say that was a really good, really great Riho match is she faced Jamie Hayter when Jamie was champion. So we're talking what, like 2.5 years ago at this point. That was a really good match. But since then, she's probably had like a handful of AEW matches, got probably like 10 or so in 2.5 years, if I had to guess. I don't know. I don't have the statistics in front of me.
Yeah, I'm
And
I'm
it's
looking
like,
at Cage Match right now. She hasn't had a match in quite a while for AEW. Wow. It took me like 5 seconds to get to 2021.
If memory serves me correctly, the last match he had was Lady Frost, and it wasn't very good.
Yes, that's correct. It was against Lady Frost. I think that's where she got hurt? Question mark. But I'm
Possibly.
not sure.
But regardless, I don't want to slag off Riho. I know a lot of people feel very strongly about her. They think she's looks brilliant and whatever, and I think she's a good wrestler. Don't get me wrong, but like, I don't know. I don't think I take her seriously as any sort of contender anymore, just because of the stop start, and also just when she appears, she puts on good matches, but she doesn't put on inspired matches that make me absolutely sort of.
She did fight Rio, and that's decently rated. I mean, it's not above an 8, but it's
Riho fought Rio.
No, I said Rio fought Willow.
I thought you said Rio fought Rio.
No, that'd be amazing, but no.
I completely forgot that happened. When was that?
Yeah, well, I mean, me too. But I don't remember shit. So, she fought Trish, but Adora.
When
was that? That was 2024. It looks like March 13th.
Oh, that's big business.
That was I was there. I was there for that. I was there for that show.
I don't know why I remember the date of big business. I'm obviously just a massive Mercedes mark.
I literally have a T-shirt that has the date on it, and I didn't even make the connection for a second there. But I do remember liking that match. But yeah, you're right. I mean, she look. I love Riho, and I think she's such a great underdog story. But with her sporadic use, with her visa issues, with her getting injured, it's just, you're right. It's tough to see her as a big competitor. I would love to see her as a big competitor. I'd love to see her get the title again at some point. Not off Mercedes, to be clear, but I would love for her to, I would fucking love if they redid the Nyla storyline, but with like Megan Bayne or some shit. I don't know. That's just the first person that comes to mind because, obviously Bayne is so imposing, just like Nyla was to Riho. But I mean, I watched those matches for the first time, and I still think they did a really great job with those matches between Nyla and Riho. So, yeah, I mean, there's still stuff left in the tank, but they just don't use her very well. And I probably have a higher opinion on her than you, but I mean, maybe not like monumentally. It's tough to say because the last match she worked wasn't good, and she got injured, and she's been gone ever since. So. I think she'll put on a great match with Mercedes, but Mercedes could have a great match with, a broomstick. So we'll see.
Yeah. I don't want to denigrate Riho in any way. I don't, just because I don't think she's like the second coming of Jesus Christ or whatever. It doesn't mean that I don't think she's a good wrestler. I think she'll have a good match with Mercedes. I think she'll have a very good match with Mercedes because, like you say, even if Riho can't manage to shake the ring rust in time, Mercedes is a miracle worker. There's only been sort of one person that she hasn't been able to do that with. Let's be real. Speaking of which, I do actually need to go to the dentist.
Well, Adam, let me be the one to transition us to the next topic by saying nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody cares. But yeah, the next backstage promo after the match, not a great deal to talk about here. This was sort of Ricochet and the Gates of Agony in the back. The only real thing of note here was that for sort of the match that came after this, they had sort of what Ricochet called a gentleman's agreement that every other person stayed in the back, and it would just be Ricochet versus Shelton Benjamin in a pure sort of one-on-one match. That did not happen.
Wow. Shock and awe.
I know. Incredible. But yeah, the segment after that, oh yeah, this was I really like this segment, even though it didn't do anything. This was the FTR segment, right? Just yep. Stoke gets great heat. He always has. I really like the fact that everyone was chanting at him that he gets no hose, and he was like, "I look around here. I look around at this crowd.
Extras from Roseanne.
Extras from Roseanne." And he was like, "Nobody in this bitch is getting any hose."
And I wasn't even there.
I know. I thought that would have been an absolutely perfect line to deliver in your.
He was getting no hose chance last week too, and yeah, I was very happy to see it. It was good.
But yeah, this I don't know if this went off the rails, and I sort of appreciate that I don't know. It does sort of add that very ECW simmering danger
That's
about
what they were going for. Now that you mention
yeah,
it, I
yeah.
hadn't thought about that before.
Yeah, because obviously this was in the ECW arena, and every time anyone runs the old ECW arena, you have to add copious sort of references to it. That's not a dig before anyone comes for me. I thought they did it quite well on this show. But yeah, like I say, this didn't accomplish anything. But Dax and Cash just go out into the crowd and start like baiting everyone to take a swing at them. And honestly, it looked like there was this one guy who I'd later found out is a Twitter troll that I already had blocked.
I did not even know this person, which I feel grateful for.
Yeah, no, honestly, he was sat there in the front row and live. I checked him out, because people were talking about it. Like I said, I already had him blocked. He must have pissed me off in some way before. But he was literally sat there live tweeting how rubbish the show was while he was in the front row. Like, honestly, geek behavior.
Ugh.
Yeah. No, I hate to agree with Stokely, but that is real no-hose behavior. But, this was really funny. Like I said, I'm not sure whether it went off the rails or not. But at one point, the cameraman gets, I don't know whether he accidentally gets in the way and falls over or whether it was planned. But then Derek and Cash are like, well, fuck it. None of these fans are swinging at us. We're just going to beat up the cameraman.
Yeah, I loved this. I appreciated how much Dax and Cash just went after the audience. It was a very good back and forth. But like you said, I'm not sure this did much. I guess it was supposed to build up the heat and kind of be reminiscent of those old, probably haven't aged well, ECW segments where, like, I'm thinking in particular the Dudleys would go into the audience and start like winding them up and shit like that. So it kind of gave me those vibes now that I think about it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know whether I was going to say that it was sort of, it was sort of reminiscent of, I don't know, New Jack baiting the crowd, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure I can get away with that one.
There wasn't enough people dying / almost dying for that to happen.
No, well, yesterday. Well, no, it was Wednesday.
Fuck, dude, come on, God.
to quote, oh my God, no, I can't get away with that one. Okay, yes, I can. Nobody fucking watches this anyway. I was going to say, to quote New Jack, one less we got to worry about, baby.
Hey, there's classics out there like Protect Your Neck, so go listen to the classics, kids.
Neck strong.
Neck strong will take you. Oh, those guys are fucking idiots too, so. Anyway, can't even enjoy my butt rock. Regardless, Shelton Benjamin then said he had a plan, and that plan was to lose. So good job, Shelton.
Pretty much. But in fairness, he lost in a very good match. Well,
yes,
we'll talk about
this was great. You know what's weird? I don't rate. I rate this like a tiny bit less than the opening match with Hanger and Josh, but it felt better. Like, is that weird? Like, it felt like a better match to me just because it was more exciting. I didn't care for the finish, but we all knew it was going to happen, so whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The vibes of this match were just impeccable. I remember saying that during the match. Just like, this was totally sort of in my element sort of thing, because I love Shelton Benjamin so much. I think back to when he first debuted in AEW, and we got like a very brief Shelton singles run before sort of Lashley showed up and they became a team. And honestly, I'm not trying to denigrate the Hurt Syndicate, but fucking take me back, because I think Shelton has absolutely all the tools in his arsenal to be a really, really sort of a contender in the singles division in AEW. I don't want to go as far to say his Lashley and MVP are holding him back, but when you get to matches like this, and I thought this was a really great match. I loved this. Shelton looked like a fucking monster. The German suplexes, like you said, who,
Yep.
this as good as Josh Alexander does them, doesn't do them like Shelton Benjamin. Nobody does them like Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah, and the super kicks too just looked
yeah,
really, really good, out of this world good. Like it's a different beast than the Young Bucks, but it still just looks so devastating, so impactful.
yeah. It's like I don't know how to describe it. It's like a cheetah and a tiger technically being cats, but you get what I mean. Where it's like
Yeah.
the Bucks is like a cheetah version of a super kick, where it's very fast and not as impactful or whatever. Whereas Shelton Benjamin hits a tiger of a super kick, where it is he will just fucking kill you. And a part of that has to be attributed to Ricochet as well, because Ricochet sold every single super kick he received in this match like he'd just been. I was going to say shot, but that may be in slightly bad taste given what we just said. Like he'd just been decapitated.
Yeah. It looked like he fucking Goldberged him. Like that's what it looked like. It looked like he fucking Goldberged him. It was insane. And the German suplexes too. That Spanish fly that Ricochet did as well, plus the nice jumping side kick that he did right before they went to commercial. I kind of like that. It looked kind of weird, but I dug it. And the fucking knee lift that Shelton does, I just love Shelton so much. Honestly, sometimes in the back of my mind, I'm like, but what if it's he hurts people and not we hurt people? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, I kind of need that Shelton singles run sometimes.
Yeah. Oh wow. God, I just want it. I just want it so bad. That I don't think we'll ever get it. Unfortunately,
No, I don't think so either. I think we got as much as we were going to get when Shelton initially signed and then did the C2.
I mean, yeah, I was going to say I wouldn't mind whatsoever if Tony Khan wanted to put him back into the C2 this year.
Yeah.
Please, Tony. I genuinely think that Shelton Benjamin on his day is like a top 10 singles wrestler in AEW. Part of that is pure sort of, he offers something that no one else does, which is that sort of big powerhouse who can kill you, but also is incredibly dynamic in the ring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the sort. It's like he's like a tiger, where he is power personified, but also he's incredibly nimble. Plus the fact he's fucking 50 years old. Like how Jesus Christ. But yeah, I love this match. But like we said previously, that gentleman's agreement held about as well as a tarpaulin in a hurricane, because as if on cue, the Gates of Agony came down to fuck up Shelton Benjamin's day, as is tradition.
Of course.
I think, was it Toa Leona hit him with like a headbutt?
Yeah, Toa hit him with the Samoan headbutt because Samoans heads, blah blah blah.
Thanks Haku for that wonderful stereotype.
Hey,
but
I'm not gonna say anything. I have nothing but positive things to say about Haku. I'm saying this on the off chance that he hears this and he tries to kill us.
Yeah, I should say we love you, Haku. Please give me my wife and family back.
I was about to say the switch up is wild.
But yeah, Ricochet got the win, which arguably he should.
Yes, because they're almost certainly losing at the pay-per-view. So
yeah, exactly. No fucker's getting pinned in that. Bishop Khan, you better look at the light.
MVP wasn't ringside now in the UK, and also the Hurt Syndicate not being ringside for this is just making a very funny pattern, or starting to develop a pattern where if they're not ringside, then somebody, aka Shelton, is losing.
Yeah, pretty much. Like,
or they're just not getting pinned.
I remember thinking, at Forbidden Door, I was there. That when the sort of we now know were Ricochet and the Gates of Agony came down to beat up the Hurt Syndicate to drive them to the back. By the way, everyone in the arena completely fucking missed that because the cameras didn't show Ricochet and the Gates of Agony on the big screens. So we were just like, oh, I guess some weird mass people just came and took the Hurt Syndicate out, whatever. But I remember thinking at the time, like, oh, okay, we're getting new champions. Which I predicted at the start of the match anyway. I did not think it would be Brody though, but we've been over that before. But yeah, this was, there was a brawl post-match, not much to say about it. It was just standard stuff. Do we want to talk about the Hook vignette?
I do, just for a second, to say, what the fuck, man? What's going on? What is happening here? Even Simon gave this a down, and Simon's like one of the, like, you can be kind of nitpicky, but generally is a very generous person towards some people that I'm not very generous towards, and Adam certainly isn't. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this? So I'm either going to be by myself, or maybe I'm not. And I'm like, can we have clear direction for the guy that we just brought back, or maybe not?
This would have been a fine segment. It would have been okay if he'd have just ended it like, oh, well, maybe it's time for me to stand on my own. At least then we would have had something that we could have been like, oh, well, maybe Hook is doing another singles run. Please, fucking God, shoot me in the back of the head. At least that would have been something. But the fact that he was like, maybe it's time for me to stand on my own. Or maybe not. And it's like, great. So we just sat there for 2 minutes for you to say absolutely fucking nothing. Great. Yeah. Wonderful. I could have had a piss.
Him saying he's cool with Joe, I don't know if that's a swerve. I don't know if he actually isn't cool with Joe and the Ops, and he'll actually cost him the titles, or he's just done with that and we're moving on.
I gotta be honest, Dory. I couldn't give any less of a shit.
I thought you might say that.
Like, Hook, you better thank your lucky stars that Tony loves Taz as much as he does, because otherwise you better learn Orlando, buddy.
Oh, I forgot to say, we forgot to mention that Taz got inducted, and on a way more important note, Taz got inducted into the Arena 2300 Hall of Fame or whatever.
Excellent! Yeah,
and I was there for that. It was really cool. Well, it was right before the show, so but yeah, I was there for that. It was super cool. Taz just got on the mic, basically told everyone to fucking leave him alone. He doesn't want the spotlight. Leave him alone. He's old and broken, and just leave him alone. But everybody's chanting, "Thank you, Taz." He was obviously very emotional. In all seriousness, very emotional, and appreciated the support. But huge ups to Taz, because he definitely could have had that take up some time on the TV, and I would not have been opposed to it. By the way, I don't think anybody would have been. It would have made total sense, but didn't want to get in the way of all the all the newer stars and stuff like that. And so we got that Vito match with Claudio and Yuta instead.
Oh, was that literally the replacement? Okay, in which case, Taz, I trust your judgment completely. Because I love that match.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a commercial break. Came back. There was a what's the word I'm looking for? Promo in the back with Don Callis and Carl Fletcher. Not a great deal to say. I only to say that
that Kyle's like, I'm gonna do it by myself. That's the stipulation. I don't know if it's ironclad, but it's supposedly going to hold more water than Ricochet. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't believe him for a second. Don Callis, that is.
But he has to leave the DCF if he loses. That's the big thing. So that's supposed to throw Jeopardy into the mix of like, oh, but maybe Kyle will win. And it's like, no, he still won't. He'll just leave the Don Callis family, and it won't matter, because the Don Callis family has Okada and Josh Alexander and fucking Takeshita, although not for much longer. So they, that is another thing too. They're probably losing Takeshita and Fletcher soon. Like, I don't think Fletcher's going babyface, but I do think like he's going to leave the fam. Obviously, think he's going to leave the family, and Takeshi's probably going to leave it. So, I mean, who's that going to leave for their shooters? Like, they're really good wrestlers, like Okada and Josh, I guess.
Dory, you're forgetting one crucial thing.
Oh God, who am I forgetting?
They're going to get the Young Bucks.
Oh yeah, that's true. They could just get the Young Bucks.
Absolutely, Don Callis is going to get the Young Bucks. Like, come on.
Yeah. I forgot about that. They have been making some moves. I forgot because the Death Riders have been making some moves on the Bucks too. So Bucks are very popular with the heel factions right now. But with
Yeah,
the two that are mainly existing. Either way,
indeed.
it's the
Anyway,
moment that
anyway, it's
Adam has been
finally
waiting
time.
for all day.
Oh my god, I can't wait to talk about this match. This was your Philly street fight between Timeless Toni Storm and Skye Blue. Now, Skye Blue, bless her heart, there is nothing that she loves more than like going absolutely balls to the wall in a hardcore type match. And I mean, we got like, it was in like the first sort of 2-3 minutes that they were weapon spots. Toni had a kendo stick straight off the bat because am I right in saying that the Sandman gave it to her?
Yes.
Yes. So a Sandman bestowed kendo stick for Toni Storm, but almost straight away we get to the most sort of gnarly spot. It doesn't matter how many times AEW goes to this well, it still makes me absolutely shrivel up and cringe. Because have you ever been stapled?
No.
I have. It hurts like a motherfucker. Oh my god. It absolutely, like, I don't know, I was a crazy kid. But
I mean, I put a BB gun to my head once, so yeah, I feel I was pretty crazy too.
But yeah, okay. Well, yeah. Have you considered? No, I'm not going to say that.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
But yeah, being stapled hurts really bad, and I was only stapled in like the arm. Toni Storm got stapled in both nipples and the vagina.
And her ass. She got it in her ass first.
Oh
Nobody
my
take that out of
god.
context.
Oh my god, she got Yeah, wait, was it ass first? I really feel like it should have been ass last, because then it would have been like milk lemonade.
Yeah,
oh dear.
it was gnarly. It was gnarly on all fronts.
Yeah, but also then Toni Storm gets the staple after that and does the exact same thing to Skye Blue in the vagina. Oh god. I mean, I cannot speak to how painful that would be for someone, but I would imagine that it's pretty not fun.
Yeah, can't be good.
Anyway, yeah, the rest of this match was so much fun as well. Like there were some spots where it was like really sort of gnarly as well, but for the most part, the rest of this match was just so much fucking fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they had everything from Tony Schiavone signs to mouse traps to
oh yeah, there was.
Yeah.
I love the fact that Toni Storm actually had cheese, and she
Excalibur took it, right?
Yeah, she bit off a piece of the cheese, offered it to Bryan Danielson, and Bryan Danielson was like, "No, please, I'm a vegan. I don't want any." At which point, she gave it to Excalibur, and Excalibur fucking ate it.
I think Taz called him a freak, or maybe Brian did. I can't remember.
I think I called him a freak.
I think we all did.
But yeah, I mean, I would, can't blame the man. But yeah,
Yep.
there were mousetrap spots. Like, not to bury the lead, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Toni Storm gets powerbombed onto the mousetrap covered table.
And it doesn't break.
And it doesn't break. The mousetraps were the table. But not to sort of overshadow that. I think the worst spot was just before that, when Toni actually put Skye Blue's finger in the mousetrap.
Oh yeah, I saw. Oh god.
Like, as bad as it is to be like power bombed onto them, I don't think necessarily that's going to do much, right? The the physics of it means that you're probably not going to get caught on a mousetrap like that, taking a flat back. But having your finger physically put in the mousetrap and you see it snap shut, oh Jesus Christ! Like, I don't know whether it was gimmicked. If it wasn't gimmicked, that can legitimately break a finger. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But yeah, there were more spots that we haven't even talked about, like the fly swatter, like the electric racket thing. Again, part of the reason why a lot of this was so gnarly is that you can relate to some of this. Like, you probably can't relate to being smacked across the back with a chair, but have you ever been electrocuted by one of those fly swatters? I have. It hurts like shit.
I know one of the members of Critical Role has. I've seen some YouTube clips of him touching one of those flies. Well, I think that it's the CEO of Critical Role too.
Oh Jesus Christ! But yeah, they hurt really bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were just so many fucking spots in this match. And it ended rather appropriately. We mentioned the chair. I think Toni Storm hits the Storm Zero on the chair, right?
Correct.
Like
Yep.
That's the finish. Oh, we cannot do it justice. Just how much fun this was, how cringeworthy, not cringeworthy as in like, the classic definition, but spots that make you shrivel up with how sort of relatably painful they are. Excellent, phenomenal stuff. Completely, I knew that this match was going to be great, but it exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, I loved this match. Probably not as much as Adam, if that's not clear. But I thought it was a great match. The spots all looked really good. Skye Blue's a fucking sicko. I'm always happy she whenever she gets to be in her happy place and just does fucking sick shit. This is all she really wants to do in her life. She said it publicly in interviews. So I'm really happy for her that she got to do yet another street fight. Women's street fight, gotta be one of my favorite genders. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, this we say this quite often, that if you haven't seen this match, we cannot possibly do it justice to tell you about it. You just have to go and see it and enjoy it and, just experience it, because it's just so much fun. But yeah, anyway, there was a brief sort of post-match where there is a four-way at All Out, and so we need to get like the four people who are in the four-way in the ring at the same time. So we had like a beatdown angle where Tekla came down to beat up Toni Storm, and Chris and Jamie came out to stop her. Pretty standard stuff, good sort of stuff.
Yep. I still think in the deep dark corners of my heart that they're teasing a blood and guts, but at this point, if that really was going to happen, they would say it. It's probably that they were just teasing the four-way the whole time, but why the fuck would Toni say, I'll give you a bloody, whatever the fuck she said last week. My brain is last year.
I think they're doing it.
Okay.
I don't know. Perhaps I have naive faith, but I still think they're doing it.
I hope so.
Quick question: do you think anyone other than Toni Storm is winning?
No.
No, me neither.
No.
Just wanted
I wish Tekla would win, but she's not going to. There's no way.
I think of all the people, Tekla probably has the greatest chance of winning. She has maybe like a 2% chance. I think Chris has a negative chance of winning. Maybe Jamie has like a 1% chance, but no, I think comfortably Toni Storm is winning.
We're getting into like Scott Steiner math here in a second.
You take my 33%.
You take my 1% and you add 2%, but you keep in mind that Willow Nightingale is always going to be ringside, and then you think about Triangle Madness anyway.
But Chris Statlander, no, she can't beat me. She's not even going to try.
So that gives me another. I fucking love that promo so much. And when MJF did it, oh my god.
Genuinely, it might be my favorite promo of all time.
So good.
I love it so much. Anyway, yeah. There was a backstage segment with Willow Nightingale, at which I thought it was going to happen. Fuck you, Harley Cameron. This is the one and only time I'll say it. But Willow was just about to challenge Marina Shafir finally for a match. And then Harley Cameron interrupts to, I don't know, sing. And Willow says, like, watch out with Chris Statlander because she'll betray you or whatever because, they still hate each other. But yeah, fuck's sake, Harley, I really want to see Willow versus Marina. They haven't done it. They've been feuding for like 6 months and they still haven't done it.
I think they've been feuding longer than God has been alive, to be honest with you. It's been a wild amount of feuding at this point between each other. But yeah, I'm hoping that they can get this match done. Maybe they will do it at All Out. I don't know. Or maybe it'll be at Wrestle Dream. We'll see. But it looks like they're teasing it for before this year is up.
God, I hope so. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and Willow Nightingale and Marina Shafir, and said, "Thou shalt feud for eternity, but never pay it off." But yeah, okay, Simon, fine. There was a match announced for All Out, a 3-way match announced for All Out for the AEW Unified title. So, in order of interest, not to be mean, for these matches, you have Anthony Bowens and Konosuke Takeshita. Should be a good match. No fucking way Anthony Bowens is winning. Beast Mortos and Mascara Dorada, which should be a brilliant match. And that's the one where I'm like, I have no idea who's winning that match. You know what I mean?
It's Beast, but we'll see.
But it could be. But it equally, like, I don't know. If it was anyone other than Mascara Dorada or possibly someone like, I don't know, Hechisero from CMLL, I would think, oh yeah, it's going to be Beast Mortos. But Toni loves Mascara Dorada. So, like, it could just be him. But not to bury the lead, on Saturday, tomorrow, as we release this, it's going to be Kazuchika Okada versus Michael Oku. I screamed when I saw that. Holy shit, that's going to be incredible. I cannot believe...
Now, Adam, unfortunately, here's the bad news. Why is Okada in his own tournament? It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't that ruin the match for you, Adam?
No, because they announced it's going to be a fucking title match, you dumb motherfuckers. Holy shit. Some people, I swear to God, I don't know how they managed to go through their life without forgetting how to fucking breathe.
Oh, God. All right, rage bait successful. Yeah, I'm very excited about this. I'm thinking it's going to be Okada, Beast, and who's the third person? Why am I blanking? Takeshita, thank you. Obviously, Takeshita, we talked about it earlier, in a triple threat, or Dorada in a triple threat. And I mean, that is going to be sensational. So very excited for whatever happens. It's kind of out of nowhere, but whatever. I mean, the C2 is a tournament, so having a tournament for this title makes a lot of thematic sense. So I'm fine with it. Oku is going to be awesome against Okada.
The thing is, you know, Toni has like, I don't know, 10 matches or so on a pay-per-view. You're not going to be able to build coherent, interesting stories for all of them. So I am completely fine with, okay, this cycle, Kazuchika Okada is just going to have, a sort of, I don't know, thrown together match or whatever. But it's going to be fucking awesome because these are the people we can put in there. Because we have this roster full of all-timer wrestlers. That does not bother me one bit. Some people will be like, oh, why isn't there a story for Kazuchika Okada? Because you're building other stories. You cannot fit everything onto 4 hours of television. So sometimes you just have to be like, right, well, okay, Okada, you're going to have a really, really good match against Konosuke Takeshita and Mascara Dorada or Beast Mortos. Fine. Like, perfectly fine. You could just do that. Because at the end of the day, if I buy in the pay-per-view, that is a match that I really, really want to see. Regardless of, story or whatever. You could just put those 3 people in a match together and I'm going to be like, holy shit, that is going to be fucking incredible. Yeah. So yeah, that is why the most important word in all elite wrestling is wrestling. because sometimes you can just put three of the best wrestlers in the world in a match together, and it doesn't need to be some dramatic storyline about a fucking bracelet or whatever. It just needs to be three wrestlers doing what they do best, which is putting on really good wrestling matches. Welcome to AEW. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, yeah. Next we had Nicholas Lee Massey and Matthew Ron John Massey in a match.
The Ron John.
I can't believe his real fucking middle name is Ron John. Like, what the fuck?
And Brian couldn't believe it either. He was just dying about that.
Seriously, the Ron John? Where the fuck do you even get Ron John from?
I don't know.
That sounds like the sort of thing that you would see in like a parody of, I don't know, a Mississippi like comedy or something. I don't know. Put the cows in the back of the trailer, Ron John. But yeah, anyway, sorry. I apologize to anyone from Mississippi. I'm kidding, they don't have internet.
That got me off guard, obviously.
Anyway, 10-man tag team match time. You had the Bucks of sorry, I've caught myself off guard. The Bucks and the Death Riders. Who was it on the Death Rider side? I guess it was Mox, Claudio, and Yuta,
it was Claudio,
right?
John, and Wheeler. Yep.
I mean, yeah, I didn't think it was Gabe Kidd, but I was also like,
no, because he got kidnapped by Darby last week. I was there. I saw it. I literally saw a crime happen. Yeah. Everybody keeps forgetting that. Somebody's like, "Oh my God, Eddie's coming back." By the way, King's coming back soon. But Eddie's coming back soon, and like, oh my God, Gabe Kidd's in AEW. I'm like, he just got kidnapped by Darby. He's not in AEW. Like, I'm pretty sure they just wrote him off.
Yeah, because Gabe Kidd would rather be kidnapped than defend his IWGP Global title. It is kind of wild, mind. I'm just saying. I don't subscribe to this whole New Japan fanboy thing of like, oh well, Gabe Kidd has sold out to AEW, blah blah. But it is kind of wild that he is like their equivalent of the unified champion. The title just below the world championship, and he hasn't been in New Japan for weeks and weeks and weeks. He's just been off doing a fucking side quest.
Yeah,
like
weird.
I don't know why did they give him the title then? I'm just saying why.
Yeah.
Why did
no, I mean, I can't. I'm as shocked as you that Ghetto is making puzzling booking decisions. Very weird.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely doesn't have a history of that.
No. But yeah, this was my match of the night. I loved it. Brodito still looks so good with their tag team offense. The Bucks look amazing as well. This is, I mean, possibly one of their best years since, I don't know, 2021, too? Something like that. Yeah,
definitely. I'd argue it's their best year since 2021.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I think they had a good last year. I don't think it was stellar or anything. I know they were tag champs for most of the year, but and also they had their bright spots. Like Sting's retirement, obviously brilliant.
Right.
But in general, it wasn't like a fantastic year for the Young Bucks. But this has been them sort of stamping their claim of like, don't you forget that we're the greatest tag team of all time.
Absolutely. This is and it's been some of their best character work as well, with the whole fucking from EVPs to bums kind of situation, plus them bring back BTE. Just their stuff with the Death Riders and the Don Callis family, them basically bring PWG. I know they've had PWG matches in AEW for a long time now, but I mean, they're really bringing them back and main eventing Dynamites. So really bring PWG, three, as I always say, 3 PWGs in a trench coat, really back to AEW. It's just been phenomenal stuff. I mean, it's just made the product better. It's made it more fun. It's allowed more storylines to intersect with each other, more wrestlers to face each other who you might not get otherwise. It's just good shit.
It's really good shit. Like, I don't know. I really appreciate, like, if I look, I'm just looking at their like sort of resume this year. you've got like so many different variations of like the PWG style tag matches, but you've also got like they were in Anarchy in the Arena, they were in the Lights Out Steel Cage match at Forbidden Door, but they've also got like they faced Brodido in a really excellent match like less than a month ago.
And they're probably going to face them again at All Out.
Yeah, they were facing. Let's not forget they had one of the matches of the night at All In against Swerve and Ospreay.
Right.
They had a really brilliant match against Jet Speed, sort of in I don't know April or May or whatever. Like they've been going on a real tear.
Yeah, and they're now one on one or 1-1 with each other. Like the Bucks technically got a pin on Brodido here. Brodido upset them in the tourney, so now they can do that. They can do that third fall at All Out, which I think they will.
Yeah, I think that it'll be Brodido versus the Young Bucks, like you say, and fucking hell, what a match to book! Because
and it's going to be pay-per-view length, which I mean, I feel like their first match was pay-per-view length, but
I mean, it's going to be like a 20-25 minute match probably.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be incredible. Brodido is like one of the tag teams of the year. Like it's
which is crazy because they just formed.
It's probably the greatest sort of thrown together tag team in AEW history. I'll put it above even like better than You Baby in that regard. Wow. Just in pure sort of match quality and like chemistry in ring, I think that they're unbeaten in that regard. Like it's shocking actually. It's shocking to me that Brody King's first ever tag title in AEW is with Bandido and not Buddy Matthews.
Of all people.
Who'd have predicted that at the start of the year?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I just checked right now. That match went 20 minutes. So imagine if they go even another 5 or another 10 at the pay-per-view. Oh man, and I think you could do a best 2 out of 3 falls as well. I think that would be really fun. I know that's kind of FTR's thing, or have it be a ladder match. Fuck it. Oh no, you can't do a ladder match because the other one. But you get my best 2 out of 3 falls. Then I think makes a lot of sense. But I don't care.
Yeah,
give whatever.
But yeah, anyway. Speaking of Brodido, they got they were in this match along with the ops of Samoa Joe, Claudio Castagnoli. Fucking hell, it's me reading too quickly. Katsuyori Shibata and Powerhouse Hart. This was a really good match. You said this was probably your match of the night.
Yeah, I just thought like this was a really well worked together 10-man tag. It's easy. I think we underestimate how easy it is to kind of get lost in the sauce with these kind of matches with this many people involved. But the thing for with these kind of matches is just like how many fucking long time professionals are in the ring, especially with tag teams in mind. The Death Riders have been doing a lot of these kind of matches. It was just really, really good stuff across the board. I can't really think of any like big spots that I liked. But the classic, topes and over the ropes and stuff like that were all fantastic as always.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really like the finish as well. That, you had the Young Bucks who needed to win this match for sort of financial reasons, getting the really sort of sneaky, hanging onto the ropes and, whatever, roll up on Bandido, sort of skulking away with the $500,000 that they've been promised. I think that's a really good story beat. And speaking of really good story beats, not to sort of skip over the match, which I thought was a really, really good match, go and watch it. But the big angle here, there was sort of a brawl at the end. The Young Bucks had the fucking money flying everywhere. Darby Allin came out to sort of, try and take out the Death Riders. And he almost succeeded, but a guy came into the ring under a hoodie, beat him down.
Oh my God, it's Solo Sikoa.
It's Tonga Loa.
It's Tala Tonga.
No, it's Daniel Garcia. I didn't know. Normally with these sorts of things, I'm good at predicting like, oh, it's going to be someone, it's like, oh, it's no, completely didn't pick up on it. I don't know whether that's me having a sort of momentary lapse of judgment, but yeah, excellent stuff. beat it down really bad, really sort of nastily. Um, he went to sort of curb stomp him onto the chair and missed. At which point John Moxley said, "No, you fucking do that shit again. We're not ending like that." So he picked him up again and curb stomped him onto the chair, which, it looked fucking gnarly. It really did.
Yeah. It looked super good. I'm very excited for this. This is one of those heel turns similar to FTR where I'm like, hell yeah, this is what he needs. Red Death coming back, serious Daniel Garcia. Look, I'm never gonna hate the dancing Danny. I liked it for a while, but eventually it did start getting old, and I'm really excited for this heel turn and what he'll be doing with it. So, and we've already got a match booked, which is going to be Mox and Garcia versus Roddy and Kyle. So that'll be awesome
amazing
for Collision. So
yeah, absolutely amazing. I'm so looking forward to Danny being like this killer, which we know he can be. I really like the little touch, by the way, that he was beating down Darby so viciously that of all people, Marina Shafir was like, "Dude, enough, calm down." You know what I mean?
I really think it's Danny letting loose a lot of aggression and a lot of anger that he's been feeling with himself, and he's just letting that loose on him. And even Marina's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Like, it's okay, you got him, man. You already put him on the mat and then on the chair." So
yeah, exactly. I thought this was a really, really well done thing, and it's made me care about Garcia more than I have in literal sort of years. So kudos to them on that. So yeah, that closes out Dynamite. Really, really good show. I thought this one. We talked about it at the start, but I thought this was a really, really good sort of penultimate show. Dynamite before All Out set up a lot of good stuff. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was a great show. A good kind of another show to help build up to All Out. And I'm really looking forward to some of these matches that are starting to take shape. So it should be a great show. If you're international, then you can get a really cool like a 2-for-1, or not 2-for-1, but like a 2-pack deal of All Out and Wrestle Dream. So go check that out. But for All Out, they're also starting, and I think this got announced last week, but we weren't able to talk about it. But they have also announced that you can buy pay-per-views through Max, so for a slightly discounted rate. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, Max is offering a sort of pay-per-view deal. So if you want, just ping MJF and he'll get you the pay-per-view.
Absolutely. He just got married, so he must have gotten a lot of money. I know that's what happened to me when I got married,
so. Well, when I get married, I hope to get those dollar bills, y'all.
That's right. Hey, I got to tell you about half of that was immediately pretty much gone from wedding expenses, so that was fun.
Honestly,
but anyway,
so fucking expensive. Anyway,
yes.
that's a great.
And we kept it cheap too. Anyway, this was a great great show. And I'm looking forward to Collision. Collision's looking stacked as well. And yeah, just a lot of cool stuff building to All Out. So hopefully we'll be here next week to talk about some more Dynamite.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, that should pretty much finish us off for today. As always, do all of the things, the liking and the subscribing and the what's the other stuff? The sharing it about. Yes, the sharing it about. Tell your friends. We do want to indulge everyone who feels underserved by the current crop of wrestling podcasts about AEW. So if you know anyone that has been shopping around for someone who actually likes what they're seeing on television, let them know about us. But regardless,
and if not, we can always just turn into grifters and just like tweet from the front row that we hate what we're watching.
I have some thoughts about Carl Fletcher that I need to share.
And that's all the time we have for today, everybody. Thanks for coming by.
Yes, but thank you very much for joining me, Dory. As always, we'll be back next week, as you said. And yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us, and goodbye.
Bye.